All right, everybody. So we're doing our brand new Photoshop assignment today. This is I think it's number 5 that we're doing. This one's a fun activity. For my remote learners, I want to remind you guys that, in order to do this, you have to go to launchpad.classlink.com/seals. Mine says home because I've already logged in here. From there, you click the remote application. Before you open Photoshop, everybody, you have to remember to enable the drive file stream, and simply enabling it makes you able to complete this assignment. If you don't do this step, you won't have anywhere to save your files to. So you go ahead and click that. That will ultimately ask you to log in, which is here. And then eventually, when all is said and done, if you go to this PC, you guys should be able to see your Google Drive file stream. And that gives you not only a place to save your information, but also to go back and link to it and turn it in through Google Drive, all right? And Google Classroom, sorry. All right, so back to Photoshop. What I'm gonna ask you guys to do is, let me stretch that up there a little bit. What I'm gonna ask you guys to do is either go to File, Open, or you can click Open, does the same thing. And I'm gonna have you browse out to this PC and to the T drive, okay? In the T drive, there is a Photoshop resources folder. You're gonna double click it there. And in there, you're gonna open this image called Gavin and Lauren. And we're gonna let that open up. I'm sitting in a closet in the basement in the middle school. So the internet access isn't awesome here. So it takes a moment for this to actually grab it from the network. In any case, you'll want to zoom in, and my remote learners, for those of you that are using a USB mouse, you notice I zoomed in there really quickly and easily. You can do it by clicking Alt plus, and Alt minus gives you a zoom out. I wanted to also show you here too. I did this in another video. Edit, Preferences, and Tools. And if you click zoom with scroll wheel, that allows you to zoom in and out. All right. This next assignment, we're going to use this magnetic lasso tool. We used it last time for Buzz Lightyear. It's a great tool. One thing, like if I mess it up, if I do this, if you really mess it up, you want to hit escape to start over. If you are just going along here, eventually I'll mess up a little bit. So I'll discuss that option as well. Although I'm doing, there we go. So it didn't do a great job here. It kind of went off on a tangent. If I hit delete, it'll take away a couple of those waypoints, and then I can just click and sort of help it see its way along. So Gavin's hair is all sorts of messed up here again. Got the wind, not his friend today. We are going to go around here and select all of this. And go down along the legs. There's another one. I'm going to hit delete so I can hug in here a little bit better. His leg is tough to do because the sunlight's coming from the upper right hand side, and it's really highlighting that area of his leg, so it makes it difficult to select there, but that's okay. We'll come back and we'll fix it. Didn't like that. Let me go back in here and do that again. There we go. So you can always hit delete and go back in again. I've been using Photoshop for a long time, and as you can see, things don't always go perfectly for me either. Speaking of not going perfectly, there we go. So you just have to take your time. Don't be in a rush. If you take your time, you're going to get better results. There you go. So I had a double click there. Sometimes when you go back to the start, if you just click once, it won't work. You have to double click it. I want to turn my mask on and see how I did. Now, you notice this big chunk in the center here. That should be red. You could paint it in, but I'm going to show you another way. If I hold the Alt key down while using this, holding the Shift key down adds to the selection. See the plus sign there? If I hold the Alt key down, that subtracts from, which is what I want it to do. So we're going to go in here. I'm just holding the Alt key down. I'm selecting, still holding the Alt key down. And when I get back to here, now when I turn the mask on, check it out. it selects that area. So again, you could paint it, but it was quicker to do what I did. For this assignment, you're going to want to make sure you go in here and you check around this area here. Not too terribly bad to fix this. You'll run into an issue along his leg here, due to the highlights. If you check here, we cut his heel off. We sort of missed some of the sand here, and we cut his toe and his heel off, which we do not want to do. So you may have to play around with the size of the brush here. I was at a 13. I'm going to take it down to like a 7, and zoom in a little bit. And you can see now I can get in and get his foot. There we go. And I'm going to go grab the paintbrush again. That's a bit large. I'm going to go down to like a 6 or a 7. Should work. And I'm going to paint this because this is actually the sand and not his foot. So it's tricky. You'll see this with Lauren too. And sometimes it's tough to tell where her foot ends and where the sand begins. So you can see down in here, I've got a bit of an issue. I'm going to have to erase that. So not a difficult task. This is pretty simple, actually. It's just tedious, and tedious is okay. Gotta get a little bit of her foot here. So just know that this is how we determine whether we're going to do a great job or not. So it's very important that you guys do as good of a job here as you possibly can. It looks like I got a little bit of her shorts here. There we go. Just erasing that. Just trying to do the best job that I can. Zoom this out a little bit. I'm assuming up on Gavin's shoulder and his hair is usually a little bit tricky. So that's a little bit easy to get at. You're going to want to take a really fine brush, like maybe down into the 1 pixel size, which is really tiny. And you're going to want to try and paint in the background here. I'm not going to bore you guys with this because this is really tedious. This takes time. You're going to want to try and do that. And with the eraser, you're going to want to take a really small eraser size brush. You're going to want to try and erase where his hair is. And it just gives it the most natural feel. Again, I'm not going to make you guys watch all of that because it's going to take me 5 or 10 minutes to do that. And know that I'll check that on yours as well too. Let me go back to a little bit of a larger brush here. In the shoulder area. You can see that orange shoulder as well too. So their shoulders, because the reason why it's struggling with the shoulder area, the sun's up here. So it's highlighting all those areas. So you guys do the best job that you possibly can, okay? When you have done the best job that you possibly can, you're going to turn the quick mask off. Notice I have selected the kids. The reality of it is I don't want them selected. I actually want them to be the only thing that's not selected. So if we go up here to select and we hit inverse, I don't know if you notice the difference, the marquees on the outside now. When I click the quick mask, now they are in red because they're not selected. And that also helps you get up here and do a little bit of a better job. Again, my expectation is you guys are going to do the best job possible there. Okay? I'm going to show you how to end this and save it. When you get to the point where you're like, okay, the kids are perfect. They're everything that we need it to be for this assignment. We're going to turn the quick mask off. What we're going to do is we're going to turn the background black and white. And we're going to leave the kids in color. So check this out. This is pretty cool. We're going to go to Image, Adjustments. We're going to go into black and white. If I slide this to the side, you'll see that it absolutely does that. They stay untouched. The background changes. And now from here, you can get a little creative. So notice if I go to the left, it darkens where there's reds. Believe it or not, there's reds in the sand. If I go to the right, it lightens it up a little bit. Same with the yellow. Darkens it. Lightens it. I like to lighten the sand up. Makes it look really nice. Green. Notice you're not going to see too much. There's a little bit of green over here on this umbrella. But that's pretty much it. So green doesn't do too much. Check out cyan. So you can lighten the cyan, which I really don't want to do. I'm going to go with the dark, sort of sinister storm clouds. Same with the blues. I don't want to go that way. I want to go this way. That looks awesome. Magenta. There's a little magenta in here and in here. How do we know that? We'll watch. So as you can see, I'm just going to leave it light. And at that point, I'm pretty satisfied. I'm going to do select. I'm going to do deselect. If I zoom in, you're going to see that, you know, I really should have done a better job on the hair here, but I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. I can always edit, undo, edit, undo, edit, undo, and back it up and go back in there and play around with my selections. Once you get to the point that it's finished, I want you guys to go to File, Save As. I want you to browse to the Google Drive file stream and your drive and classroom. You're going to browse to your Tech Ed section. Make sure that's the right one. Yeah, it's this one, sorry. And in here, you are going to call this your first name, your last name, beach. Guys, please make sure it's your actual first name and your last name, not first, last. First name, last name, beach. You're going to click save. You can just say okay to that, whatever it's at. If it's 8s, I think the default, you can just say okay. And at this point, you're just going to make sure that you go back to Google Classroom. Can't type this morning. Google Classroom and My Class, and you're going to hand it in through that assignment. Again, you guys have seen that a bunch of different times. So you want to make sure that you do that and take your time with this one. Remember, most of the work you have to put in the selection, just like everything in Photoshop. The tools do all the heavy lifting, all the hard work for you. It's selecting what you want Photoshop to actually manipulate that takes all the time. So I hope you guys enjoy this assignment. Make sure you turn it in. Make up any late work that you may not have done, and have a great day.